up on us, step up on us. Diamond, 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 diamond. Diamond, 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 diamonds on my wrist. When I step up on us, step up on us.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. The Freight Coach Morning Show is live, coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona today on this beautiful Wednesday, the 27th of April out here. Yeah, we're back. We're back at it, you guys. Every single morning, every weekday morning, from 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, we are doing a 30-minute live show. We are breaking down the realities of the transportation industry that's out there. Before we jump in, as always, I got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub, you guys. Asset reutilization is the wave of the future for freight and brokers alike, especially right now. You guys think about it. We always need trailers. We always need capacity that's out there. They have a literal seamless opportunity for you guys. So I want to give you guys an example of this right now. So as you can see coming across the ticker right now, that we have round trip opportunities out there. So I'm going to show you about this. Josh Breeze, what's going on, brother? So here's what we have. For example, they have, I'm going to share my screen. I'm just learning all this fancy stuff right now. Well, fancy to some. Renee, what's going on? Good morning. So what they have right now, when we're talking about this Chicago to Toronto round trip opportunity that's available, they have, we have out here. Oh, that was not what you guys were supposed to see. That's all good. It's just my AR report. Let's see. So they have in Toronto out there right now going down to Chicago, Illinois. They got a couple of drive-ins out there. And then they also have some return loads out of Wilmington, Illinois, going back up to Mississauga, Ontario. So as you guys can see, starting Chicago, go up to starting Toronto, go down to Chicago, deadhead 60 miles down there to Wilmington to grab those empties to head back up into Mississauga, which is in the GTA, the Greater Toronto area. So look into that, you guys. Like, again, this is what we need in any switching market that's out there. We need our customers' ability, or we need the ability to shift all of this stuff to help out our customers in all of their freight. Brian, what's going on? Nick Erdman, what's going on? Pat Green, you are finally catching this live. What's up? Arun Deep, what's up, brother? Yeah, you guys. So, I mean, as I was just sharing my screen out there and it's coming across the bottom, Toronto to Chicago round trip opportunities through VHub. And then plus, you guys, they have one-way rentals that are out there as well right now. So in Glade Spring, Virginia, there's a bunch of dry vans that are available. You get paid literally. So if you're a U.S. carrier that has Canadian authorities, you can snag these empties brand new in Glade Spring, Virginia. You get paid $18.50 to cover your deadhead to grab freight that goes up into the cities in Canada where they need this to go into. So Montreal, Edmonton, and into Montreal, Edmonton, and into Vancouver, British Columbia. Look at that right now. Justin McAfee, connect with my guy, Xavier Campos at VHub. All right. Xavier Campos. He's the guy you need to talk to about this, man. They got brand new dry vans available in Virginia, looking to head up in there. And yeah, so check that out right now. Catherine Whitehouse, good morning. And then Matt Perkins, what's going on, brother? Yeah. So you guys, again, check out my friends over at VHub. All right. They are legitimately here to help this industry out with their product. And again, brokers, we need capacity. We need all of that. So let's do this. Let's do this right now. I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot to talk about. I talked about this yesterday, and I'm just going to make this a daily thing I'm talking about what the national average of diesel price is right now. And again, I get all of this off of EIA.gov. The national average of diesel this week is sitting at $5.16 a gallon. So think about that when we're quoting out our freight out there. Also, here's a reminder, you guys, International Road Check is coming up on May 17th through the 19th. International Road Check. Bring that up to your shippers right now. Again, it's also known as DOT Inspection Week. Bring this up to your shippers, you guys. Educate your shippers on this. Separate yourself from your competition by doing this. You'd be shocked by the amount of shippers that are out there that are aware of what it is, but they don't know about the effects of what it has on their freight and everything else. So again, check that out. Diesel price is just fucking astronomical right now. Also, day 13 of the Freight Coach Morning Show tally of there being a parking issue in this industry for our drivers, as well as a bathroom issue. Before I get into today's show, I don't know if you guys saw my friend Adam Wingfield post up what he did this morning. on what a fellow driver, and the person who posted this, is phenomenal. She's actually going to be on my podcast here in a little bit. She posted something out there, and I want you guys all to think about this. Would you work somewhere that made you use a bucket to go to the restroom in? Would you guys work there? Would you guys show up there every single day knowing that you had to use a fucking bucket? This is what's out there. They posted out there right now on, and again, their intent on posting this was just to help people, but instructions on how to use a bucket and then trash bags to dispose of it when you're at shippers and receivers who don't let you use their bathroom. Why would anybody want to do this for a fucking career if you were exposed to those? Like, honestly, who in the shipper community that has this happening can defend themselves? I would love to talk to you about this. I would love to know why, and I get the reasoning that would lead up to it, but how has it never been revisited? Honestly, it's sickening. It is absolutely sickening. How do we ever expect to progress as an industry if drivers have to buy buckets to use and then trash bags? Degrading is a great way to summarize that, Brian, because that's exactly what it is. It is fucking degrading. I mean, come on. We got to be better than this. I legitimately, I'm not at a loss for words often. But this literally makes me sick. And then they're just supposed to deal with it, right? Because if not, go find some other freight, right? I mean, come on. Man. Yeah. Add paying for showers into that as well. I get it. I'm going to be, when it comes down to paying for showers, hey, I can't say that that's like a right or a wrong thing. But then again, I don't know. I think like if they're like, what a way to attract, because like I want, brokers and shippers and everybody alike. What's the one thing that we need to move our products? Like literally, what's the one thing that we always will need no matter what? Trucks, right? So, and I know that there has been situations that have led to a lot of these decisions being made, but Jesus Christ, you want to never have a capacity issue as a broker? Look into becoming a broker of choice, because when you become a broker of choice to a carrier, guess what? We all want to be a broker of choice to shippers, right? That's the direct trickle down effect. When you treat your drivers right, when you get them to buy in, and again, I know this is hard. I know that there's a lot of people out there saying, oh, but what about when this happens and that happens? It's part of the industry. But when you develop that carrier base out there, you will never have a shortage of customers that are going to want to work with you. Okay. And then right now with the market shifting in the way that it is on the spot market, all of you brokers who are crying about relationships over these last couple of years, are you adhering to that right now? Now that there's an opportunity for you to make a little bit more money, which according to the earnings report, nobody's been fucking struggling making money over the last 20 months, 24 months in this industry. So let's call that what it is. But are you truly about that relationship right now? I want to know, because I'm not calling any companies out specifically, but I've had some DMs recently about some loads that are being posted, not partials. I disregard the ones that come in on cheap quotes on the partials. Full truckload, 44,000 pounds, paying 88 cents a mile. Really? Again, I don't want to give a lot of attention to the bottom feeders, because that's what those individuals are. They're bottom feeders. Let that freight sit. I agree with every single driver out there. Let that freight sit. But come on, like to me, I just don't get it. My buddy Robert Bain said it best. Just because somebody puts you in the ER doesn't mean you got to look to put him in the fucking morgue. Like, what are we doing here? And it's like, again, we want to retain drivers. We want to attract people into this industry. We got to do better. We got to be a lot fucking better at the end of the day. And I know some of you might be like, oh, it's easy for you to say this sitting behind a fucking computer. And you're right. It is easy for me to say this back here. But I guarantee you this, if that was I work with brokers, I consult with brokers on a daily basis and trucking companies on a daily basis. Ask any of my clients. I'm advising them to play the long game. That's what's going to sustain through any market shift that's out there, you guys. Playing the long game. I understand rates fluctuate. All right. I understand market shifts. I get all of that. But do you really want to drive those prices down to the point where guys are, because like, here's what happens. And this is what is very hard for people to conceptualize. When they accept your rate at a cheap price, guess what that is? You are their backup option. You are their option if they cannot find another fucking load out there. So when they do find that better paying load, boom, you're starting over from square one. And then you do that again and again and again. Then it's getting closer and closer to the pickup time. And you pull the trigger and you end up paying $300, $400 more on a load than you would have paid if you just would have stuck with the carriers that you were working with when you're just negotiating a little bit back and forth on that. Play the long game, you guys. I know that there's a spot market. The spot market's all over the news right now, which is such a small subsector of the industry to begin with. But you guys, be the change that you're looking for. All right. Be the change that you want in this industry. Because otherwise, 6 months from now, you're going to be having the same fucking problems. Do you really want to do that? Or do you want to build a sustainable brokerage, a sustainable book of business? Because I know there's plenty of people out there who are doing that. They're not out there doing the things that we're all notorious for. And they're finding lots and lots of success in any single market. So, all right. That being said, I know that was kind of a little long-winded rant there, you guys, but I had to get it off my chest. I can't sit back and not bring up this stuff. All right. I for a long time, I've been saying, oh, somebody should say it. I'm going to be the motherfucker that's going to say a lot of this stuff. All right. I will be the one that's going to come out there and call out the things that need to be called out and praise the people that need to be praised in this industry, because we have to be better. We have to progress as an industry. All right. If we want to never have a driver issue, a retention issue, or anything like that, you ever want to have never resetting your book of business every 3, 6, 9 months as a broker, do better. All right. I've never been fired from a customer for doing the right thing. Just throwing that out there. All right. Yes, Brian. It's not a good look. Yeah, 100%. 100% agree. First article today. I hope I'm sure everybody fucking fell off and nobody's watching anymore after that. But guess what? I ain't stopping. So first article today is coming from FreightWaves. This is foes of hours of service changes make arguments in federal appeals court. The FMCSA, Teamsters, and safety groups debate whether driver safety would suffer under a 30-minute break for short haul changes. All righty. A 3-judge panel on Monday against some of the changes in the hours of service rules implemented by the FMCSA in 2020 focused roughly equal time on modifications to the 30-minute break rule and changes for the short haul providers. While there are other provisions in there, the Teamsters and a coalition of groups focused on safety challenged the 2 modifications in the courts. Oral arguments are available on the YouTube channel. I didn't watch the oral arguments on that, but the overall majority of it was focused on the 30-minute break rule, allowing periods of 30 minutes while drivers conduct activities such as refueling and eating to count against the existing half-hour break requirement was a focus by Judge Judith Roberts on whether it's an adequate rest period. So I think that, again, if you're out there working, so essentially their thing is there's no indication or analysis on the impact of the 30-minute break on health. The agency only talks about it broadly. It was particularly problematic, the judge said, with the hours of service rules, with the 11-14 split, which restricts driving to 11 hours out of the total 14 hours on duty and 30-minute required break in the 8-hour cap on a single run, found that there were benefits to the 30-minute break. I think that if you're fueling up and you're grabbing lunch, I mean, again, I think that it's the drivers that need to say what is the most beneficial for them out there. Because again, I mean, on the 11, they can only drive. So when they say 11-14, you can be on the clock for 14 hours in your day, but you can only be driving for 11 of those hours. So that's what they mean by that. And to me, it's like it's just like with a lot of this stuff, they can't tell if there's a real benefit to changing the way it is. I'm not saying go back to paper logs or anything like that. Furthest thing from what I'm trying to say here. But I think if it should just be, drivers should be able to choose how they want to do it. Like, I get the framework of it all, but a driver should be able to choose how they want to spend their break. If they want to use their 30 minutes while they're fueling up and they feel adequately rested, that's on them. It's just like any one of us getting behind the wheel of our car when we're a little bit tired and we're driving anyways, I don't see it. Like, I understand that a truck's a lot bigger than a car, but I mean, causing death is causing death no matter how you try and spin it. Again, it has to be up to that, because I don't think overly regulating anybody is beneficial. I'm not a fan of regulations. I'm not a fan of big government or anything like that. I'll just hint and throw that out there. It is so the judge, Patricia Millett, questioned why the coalition was opposed to the extension to 14 hours for short haul driving, given the 11-hour on duty limit remains. If they just did the driving radius, I don't know what your objections would be, because you would still have the 11 hours, the judge said. Changes in the short haul rule of 80. So look, they're looking to reduce. So it's currently at 150-mile radius for short haul, and that's for like an exemption to where you don't need to like kind of clock your hours. I mean, it's I'm going to use air quotes with that. I had a carrier explain it to me, but I'm not going to put whether it's right or wrong out there. But they're looking to define an extension of the radius from a short haul to 150 miles up from 100 miles out there again. So that's something to look into. The extension to 14 hours just gives more opportunity to not comply, Rosenbaum said, with the addition, said it was easier to violate the hours. Like, here's like, when I see stuff like this, like rule breakers are going to break the rules no matter what. You know what I mean? Like, I get the framework, and yes, we need framework. We need a box, and here it is. But it's just like with a lot of things, man. People are going to break the fucking rules no matter what you throw at them. I just don't believe in overly regulating anybody on what to do. Yeah, there's, but again, to put it out there, I definitely see both sides of the fence. I want safer roads. I want people to be adequately rested. But I think like one of the things that would help alleviate a lot of that is to focus on truck parking and focus on adequate areas where drivers can rest. And, my friend James Lewis, who was on my podcast yesterday, broke it down too about educating out trip planning. That should be a major emphasis out there. Instead of driving into the heart of a city to get your every hour of your drive time out there, stop 30, 40 minutes outside of it, shut your clock down early and start a little bit earlier the next day so you can avoid traffic and avoid some of those traffic bottlenecks that are out there. So I thought that was good information that he had shared out there on my podcast yesterday. So yeah, it was a good article. It was very informative on there. And again, if you don't know any of this shit, if you're a broker and you have no idea what an 1114 is or the sleeper berth break or any of that stuff, look into that. Educate yourself, please. For the love of God, educate yourself. That is from Freightways. Foes of the hours of service changes make arguments in federal appeals court. Check that out. Good morning, Samantha Bass. Second one coming from my friends over at the JOC. Some IMCs question role of small shippers in intermodal volume growth. So this one, all right. So while U.S. Class I railroads say they believe domestic intermodal is a growth engine as cost and environmental concerns become more important for shippers, some intermodal marketing companies, IMCs, are worried that large shippers will thrive while small shippers will be left behind. They're just saying the biggest thing out loud. Small shippers are always fucking left behind, no matter what. So this is like, when I say like go after the small to mid-size shippers, you guys, this is what I mean. They're the most underutilized people that are out there. It's not going to like make the sales process easy, because granted, if you have a shitty pitch, it doesn't matter who you're calling. But instead of going after what everybody goes after, Dallas to Chicago, Atlanta to Philadelphia, shit like that, go after secondary cities, go after the less served markets. That is where you're going to find the greatest reward out there. Literally, like look at FedEx last year. FedEx literally told their smallest paying customers essentially to go fuck themselves. That's what they said at that time. And that's generally what happens in a lot of these market shifts and everything else is people go to the money. That's just what a free market is, though, at the end of the day. But if you're out there trying to build your book of business, this is a great article to read and give some hints, because generally when the larger players are going in one direction, the small, like us, the 97%, we got to fucking focus in on other areas. And then that's the areas that we own. And those are the areas that you go after. Let's see. Low volume shippers use non-asset IMCs to rely on a rail-owned UMAX or EMP containers, while large volume shippers employ a mix of the top 5 assets that are out there. A domestic container traffic rose 5.2% year over year in the first quarter, according to the Intermodal Association of North America. Asset-owning IMCs are buying more 53-foot boxes to satisfy demand. So, yeah, it's cheaper. It's more environmentally friendly, obviously, because instead of I don't even know how many boxes you can fit on a rail car. Brian, you fuck probably, man, you know that. Brian worked in the rail for a long time. Put it out there. On average, how many 53-foot containers can be hauled on a train? But yeah, it's a lot easier to throw all of them on a train than it is to book them up on an individual by basis on an OTR run. But yeah, this is another good one. So again, it's, another subheader in this article is, will the railroads buy 53-foot containers? The uncertainty was heightened after the Union Pacific became the exclusive West Coast partner for APL Logistics and Knight-Swift on January 1st, and announced a partnership with Schneider that will begin in 2023. Hub has been a UP partner for more than a decade. They said, we are committed to our EMP/UMAX programs, as it's evident by our substantial investments in new chassis for GPS and GPS for our containers. Excuse me, the UP said in a statement. Yeah, I think that, and then here, CSX, purchasing new managers, I'm in favor of us being, okay. Yeah. Anyways, that pretty much summarizes that article. But yeah, it's, again, from my friends over at the JOC, some intermodal IMCs question the role of small shippers in intermodal volume growth. So yeah, that's a good area for you to focus on. Like, I mean, Minot, North Dakota, for example, like fucking your main large competitors aren't going to Minot for the most part. You know what I mean? They're sticking in Fargo. They're sticking in major cities. So attack those secondary city markets, you guys. There's plenty of freight that's out there. And generally speaking, because like most rail hubs and everything else, they only go a certain mile radius that's out there. All right. They're not dead. They're not sent, not at least for a nominal, not for a fee, though I'm sure that anybody will go out there a little bit longer for more money. But again, look into that as you're building up your book of business, and really as this market continues to shift that's out there. Yeah, because again, a lot of the data talking about the market shift is what it is. I kind of broke all that down yesterday. And on yesterday's episode on my opinion on some of that stuff. So third and final article, excuse me. This is from ttnews.com. And this is a bill to end predatory towing goes before the Maryland governor. Despite strong opposition from the towing industry, I wonder why, Maryland truckers are optimistic the governor will sign a bill to end predatory towing practices on highways under the jurisdiction of state police. Let's see. House Bill 487 for non-consensual towing requirements for commercial vehicles is before Governor Larry Hogan. Let's see, sponsored by Democrat delegates. The bill requires that state police to establish requirements regarding a list of qualified towing companies used when initiating tows for disabled or abandoned commercial vehicles. Rates would be available to the public upon request. The governor has 30 days from April 11th, ending the date of the General Assembly, to let the bill become law without his action, veto, or sign it into law. Hopefully the governor will sign this soon so we can count on it becoming law and start to reap the benefits, says Lewis Campion, the president and CEO of the Maryland Motor Truck Association. There's a lot of excitement about this because for so long there have been no controls over what they've been charged, and they feel like they have been taken advantage of for the tow companies. I've had some pretty nasty fucking tow bills come across my desk as a broker, and it was wild. I'll say this. The biggest one for me was I had a driver once whose kingpin broke leaving a shipper, and the truck turned right, the trailer went straight, slid right off the fifth wheel, and they had to shut down the road. Legitimately, the wrecker and everything that they brought out, the crew, it was $15,000. $15,000 to move that trailer back into the shipper, like fucking 800 feet, 15 grand to shut all of that down. Like, that is insane to me. I just like, I go back and forth on, again, I'm not a fan of overreach or anything like that, but Jesus, some of these tow bills, and I think I saw one the other day over like a $50,000 tow bill and stuff like that. And again, like, I know these get out of hand, but I know that some of them require it. Some of them, depending on the severity of the wreck and the cleanup and everything else that comes with it. Yeah, I could see some of those. Let's see. Currently in Maryland, if a medium or heavy duty truck must be towed on a highway under the state police, the police have a tow list was required by state to rotate the company called the tow. The trucking company has no role in selecting the. Okay. So yeah, this, no, Chandler, I did not negotiate on that one. It was just what was set on my desk and said $15,000. What the fuck? Yeah. So essentially the way that it was, like the way that I'm perceiving it in this article is that the state police would call towing companies, and essentially the carrier themselves couldn't call multiple towing companies. And then they hold equipment or cargo hostage until you were forced. Yeah. So essentially it looks like, from what I'm reading in this article, and I could be wrong, but my perception is the carriers in the state of Maryland have never been able to choose who comes and does the tow job, TOW job. And they were forced to pay whatever the hell that they, wow. Okay. Yeah. You know what? So again, my perception of this is that's what needs to change. Hands down. That needs to change. They need to do something about that. That is crazy. Okay. All right. $15,000. No. Sorry, Chandler. I just read your comment again. Yeah, that is something. Let's see here. All right. The legislation would ban per pound billing, which has been drastically increased on there. Holy fuck. Okay. Campion said trucking companies have received $140,000 bills, $80,000 for 90 minutes worth of work. He described one case involving a member trucking company whose lawyer called after a tow company received a $75,000 bill, which was lowered to 25 grand after that. You take that to a small company, one guy who might be running his own truck, or he owns up to 3 trucks, doesn't necessarily have counsel that he regularly interacts with, and the ability to just hire somebody legally that rapidly on what happens. You take one of these tow trucks away and he's out of business. Damn, that is wild. Chandler, you okay, what's the highest tow bill you've seen, Chandler? I know you do fun stuff in the industry. Yeah, that's wild. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, that's insane. That is absolutely insane. You know, they're working on legislation. Okay. So yeah, I would honestly love to. So that article was from Transport Topics. Bill to end predatory towing goes to Maryland governor. I would love to see what that is in other states, if that's the same thing, or if that is just for the state of Maryland where that was a thing. Yeah, dude, I can only imagine. I knew towing was going to be expensive. I just didn't, I mean, $140,000 for 90 minutes worth of work. Like, damn, I know some of those guys have some pretty sick tow trucks, but fuck, man, that's $13K last week. Okay. But Chandler, what was like the extent of that? When you say $13K, was that for them just to show up and change a tire, or was that like justified in your opinion? But yeah, that's absolutely insane. So I will say this again, I'm not a fan of government overreach, but I am a fan of stopping predatory bullshit that knowingly puts people out of business. So yeah, I would love to know if that's across the nation, if that is, or if that was just like the state of Maryland who had that in place. And I know if any towing company out there is going to essentially tell me to fuck myself, but I also feel like, again, that's something that probably only highlights the companies who take advantage of it, and they don't highlight the companies who do the right thing and take care of their clients and everything else. So again, you got to take a lot of that with a grain of salt. Pre-planned project. All right. Well, I appreciate that, Chandler. Yeah. So that's kind of it for today, you guys. We got about 60 seconds left. Those 3 articles that I got, I'll put it up there. All of this, the replay on this is available on my profile on LinkedIn. It's also available on my YouTube channel. I put all the links to the video or the articles and everything in that. And yeah, so that's kind of it. And, to kind of end the show today, 2 years ago was the day that I said, fuck it, and went into business for myself. April 27th of 2020. So I know I put out a podcast a couple weeks back, kind of doing a 2-year recap, but this was the official day. So it's officially been 2 years. I can't thank you guys all enough for the support you guys show on all of my stuff. It's wild. And what's also wild is we're just starting with all of this, and I'm not stopping. As I told you guys earlier this year, like, if you thought I did a lot of content before, you guys haven't seen anything yet. And that's the truth. I'm all in on this stuff, you guys. Media, podcasting, all of this. This is where my heart lies. This is what I love doing. I love the support you guys show me, though, more than anything. And it's been a wild ride. so far. And yeah, and it is so fitting that I'm going to have tech issues again to end my show. I got to fucking look into this. But that's it for today, you guys. I appreciate you guys all so much. And we'll be back tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down 3 more industry articles out there to continue to bring truth and bring a different perspective out there, because the sky is not falling no matter what all the fucking clickbait and bloodbath bullshit is that you're seeing out there. Yeah, there are some very real things that happen in this industry, but there is a way to work through it. And that's what we're going to talk about day in and day out, is providing a different perspective on how to keep people in business. I'm a fan of small business. I am a small business owner. I'm a fan of people living out their American dream. It's why I hang the American flag on my wall out there, is because we live in the greatest nation out there. I want to keep people in business. I'm here for that 97% of the industry of small trucking companies and brokerages alike to help fight for you guys and vouch for you guys and everything else and provide a different perspective. I appreciate you guys all so much. And yeah, we will be back tomorrow, and I'll be ending this broadcast here. We're ending the broadcast. All righty. We'll see ya. Nope, that didn't work. We're back temporarily. Hold on. Hold on. Here we go.